History remembers empires and crowns, but the frost remembers her. In the dead of winter, when kings slept in fur and silence fell heavy, a woman survived without warmth, without witness, without rest. This is how. Close your eyes and imagine this. You awaken, not in your warm bed with soft pillows, but on a scratchy pile of straw, scattered across uneven wooden planks. The air is damp, the walls of stone cold against your skin. You don't remember how you got here, but this is not your world. A low light seeps in through a small hole carved into the wall. The air smells like mold and smoke. You cough. Your throat is dry. You rise slowly. Every muscle aches, not from effort, but from cold and restlessness. The straw pokes through a rough blanket wrapped around your shoulders. There's no bathroom, no running water, just a wooden bucket in the corner and a pile of fabric torn for wiping. You try not to look at it. A rough clay bowl sits on a wooden table, if you can call it a table. It's just a flat plank over two logs. The contents are cold, gray, and gelatinous. Some sort of porridge. You don't feel hungry anymore. A knock. No, not a knock. Just a sound outside, a wheel, a shout, the bleat of a goat. It's morning. You push open the door. It groans loudly, resisting your hand. Outside, the sky is pale and cloudy. The air smells of smoke and mud and animals. The ground is wet. You step out barefoot. The mud is cold between your toes. Around you, the village is waking up. A woman passes you, carrying two buckets hanging from a wooden yoke across her shoulders. Her face is sunken, eyes hollow. She doesn't look at you. A man limps down the path. One foot is wrapped in cloth. He coughs, then spits into the dirt. No one reacts. You begin to walk, unsure where to go. The village is small, perhaps 20 homes, all made of wood, mud, and straw. Some roofs sag. One hut leans precariously. Chickens scurry underfoot. You pass a child crouching in the mud. He's digging with his fingers, mumbling to himself. He looks up at you, face smeared with dirt, then back down. Farther ahead, a wooden cart creaks by. The wheels are uneven, banded with rope to prevent splinters. A donkey pulls it. A boy leads it by rope. There's a faint sound, gong, a bell. It rings distantly across the fields. Maybe the church, maybe the manor. You try to recall history class. This is Europe, sometime between 1100 and 1400. You are no lord. You are no knight. You are just a villager, a nobody. You wonder if you'll survive the day. There is no privacy, no warmth, no safety net. If you get sick, no antibiotics. If you get injured, no hospital. If you fall behind in your work, no mercy. Your clothes are coarse. A woolen tunic, it itches. A rope belt at your waist. No underwear. Your feet are bare and already bruised. You look around. Every face is weary, wrinkled, tired. And you realize many are younger than you expected. But life here ages you fast. You try to speak. No one responds. The language is similar but strange, Middle English perhaps, or Norman French. You're not sure you're alone. You're among people but utterly alone. Somewhere in the distance a man shouts. You flinch. No one else reacts. You continue walking. The path leads to a well. Villagers gather there, filling buckets, gossiping in low voices. One woman scratches a sore on her leg. Another wipes a child's face with a dirty rag. A man approaches you. He gestures to a pile of firewood, then to his axe. You understand. He wants you to help. You hesitate. He frowns, points again. This time more firmly. There is no choice. You nod, you pick up a log, the axe is heavy. Your hands already sting. The day has begun, and you are not ready. The wood you carry is rough. Splinters bite into your palms. The axe is dull, its edge jagged and blackened. Still, the man grunts and gestures. He wants you to split the logs, so you do. With each swing, your muscles protest. The log resists. It takes 4, sometimes 5 hits to split one. Sweat begins to pool at your brow. The cold morning hasn't warmed, but your body steams. When you stop to wipe your face, you realize something. Your skin is already coated in dirt. There's dust, wood chips, and a fine film of soot that clings to your neck. And this, you realize, is how you will stay. There are no baths here, at least not for you. A woman fills a basin nearby. The water is brown. She uses it to wash her face, then pours it back into the bucket. Children share the same cloth. They rub grime off their legs, then move on. You look around. There's no soap, no running water, no privacy, and no clear way to ever feel clean. Behind a hut, a boy squats near the hedges. You avert your gaze. There are no toilets. Waste runs in thin streams through the village paths. You step carefully now, watching the ground. A thin mist hangs over the well. You approach. A man finishes filling his pail and nods to you. You pull the rope. The wood creaks. The bucket rises. You peer inside. The water is cloudy. Floating bits drift lazily. You hesitate. But thirst forces your hand. You sip. It tastes of iron and decay, but you swallow. Behind you, someone coughs, deep, rattling, a wet sound. You turn and see a woman leaning against the wall, clutching her ribs. No one goes to her. She spits onto the ground. It's red. No one reacts. You keep walking. Inside one hut, you glimpse a man lying still, wrapped in cloth, unmoving. His face is gray. A candle flickers beside him. A child sits near, singing softly. You look away. This is illness here. This is death. And it is everywhere. No antiseptic, no gloves, no hospitals, just faith or luck. A woman nearby dabs a sore with a bundle of herbs. Another chews something bitter before pressing it to her eye. These are remedies, but they are guesses, nothing more. You scratch your arm, a rash, raised and red. You wonder if it's from the straw bed, the dirty axe handle, or the water, or something worse, something alive. You see a rat scurry by, then another. No one notices. They are part of the rhythm here, the unseen guests. You begin to understand. The filth is not a phase, it is not a mistake. It is part of this life. The dirt clings not only to the body, but to the air, to the food, to the breath of the people around you. You cannot scrub it away, you cannot avoid it. You can only carry it with you, forever. You hear a voice behind you. Another task awaits, another chore in the cold. But now you move more slowly, not just from fatigue, but from realization. You are not just visiting, you are living this, and there is no soap, no escape, only dirt, and a day that has barely begun. Hunger grows, not the kind you know, the slight, restless craving when lunch is a bit late, but a deeper gnawing, an ache that coils through your stomach like a cold hand. You haven't eaten since waking. The porridge in the bowl from earlier still sits in your mind, gray, cold, and swarmed by flies. A woman beckons you. She ladles something into a wooden bowl, watery, pale, with a few floating grains. It smells sour, fermented. But it's warm. You sit on a rock and taste it. It's not good. It's not terrible. It's food. Beside you, a boy drinks from a shared bowl. He licks the edges, then sneezes into it. No one flinches. This is normal. You watch others eat. A man tears bread with black patches. He picks off a bit of mold and keeps chewing. A woman bites into dried meat, gnaws it with difficulty. There is no salt here, no sugar, no butter, no fruit, no freshness. Everything is hard, stale, sour, or smoked. You think of your favorite meal back home. The flavor, the warmth, it feels like a dream now. A luxury you didn't know was rare. In this world, food is survival, not pleasure. A dog whimpers nearby, its thin ribs poking out. It licks the ground beneath the tables. A man yells and throws a bone. The dog runs, tail low. You stare at the bone. It's mostly clean. Still, the dog is hungry enough to chew it endlessly. Someone offers you a fruit, an apple, small and bruised. You bite into it. It's soft, mealy, and bitter. You chew anyway. There are no trash bins, no leftovers, no waste. Everything is eaten. A woman picks weevils out of a bag of grain. She flicks them into the fire, then stirs the flour. You notice the bread, thick, dark, and coarse. It smells slightly sweet but feels like stone in your hand. You bite and it crumbles dry in your mouth. A child nearby chokes on a mouthful. His mother pats his back, but no one offers water. He keeps eating. There are stories of spoiled meat, of bread baked with rat droppings, of tainted grain that drives men mad. These are not myths. They are warnings. Your stomach twists, but you keep chewing because there is no other choice. Later, someone brings a bucket of soup, turnips perhaps, something stringy and floating. You drink. It helps. Warmth returns to your chest. You begin to understand the rhythm. Work, eat what you can, return to labor. No meals are planned. There are no times. You eat when there is food. You stop when it runs out. There is no feast here, No tablecloths, no forks or plates. Just fingers, wooden bowls, and survival. You wipe your mouth with your sleeve. It smears. You shrug. Hunger is quieter now, but it's not gone. You will carry it into the fields. You will carry it into the night, and when it returns, it will be louder. The ache in your arm hasn't gone away. From chopping wood or lifting buckets, you're not sure, but it spreads now up to your shoulder. A slow throb like a reminder that something's wrong. In another world, you would visit a doctor. In another world, you'd take a pill. But here, there are no doctors. There are healers. Old women with bundles of herbs and bone charms. Men with rusty blades and bottles of thick, dark liquid. You wander past a hut with an open door. Inside, someone screams, a deep, drawn-out cry, then silence. Then the sound of cloth being torn. You keep walking. A woman limps past you. Her ankle is wrapped with old rope and cloth soaked in something brown. Her toes are black. She sits by the fire. Another woman crushes something, perhaps bark or mold, into a paste. She applies it gently. The injured woman winces, but she stays still. You sit nearby. The healer offers you a leaf to chew. Bitter and sharp, you cough. She gestures to your arm, then nods as if satisfied. There is no antiseptic, no knowledge of bacteria. Illness here is not something to be cured, it is something to endure. Across the path, a man screams again, this time louder. You look. Two men are holding him down while another prepares a blade. A crude amputation. The leg is gangrenous. The blade is heated in fire, but not enough. It sizzles, smokes. The man thrashes. The cut begins. You turn away. No one screams for mercy, because mercy is not expected. Pain is accepted. It is part of life. You recall stories of barber surgeons, of leeches and bleeding, of skulls drilled to let spirits out. They are not myths. They are real. One child nearby has a swollen neck. Another is covered in rashes. A man's eye is crusted shut. No one avoids them. There are no quarantine zones. You feel a chill, and not from the wind. You look at your fingers. The splinters are still there. One has turned red. Swollen, you pull it out. It bleeds. You tear a strip from your tunic to wrap it. You hope it's enough. You hope. The healer hums as she crushes more herbs. There's no diagnosis, no prognosis. Only ritual. You ask her name, she doesn't answer, or doesn't understand. A child drinks something from a wooden spoon. His face twists in disgust. His mother nods. He drinks again. You wonder how many survive. How many die quietly, unburied, unrecorded. A man carries a bundle wrapped in cloth out of a hut. He walks past, eyes downcast. He does not speak. You know what it is. No one cries. There is no ceremony. Only silence. Your arm still throbs, but you don't mention it again. You join the others, lifting straw, sweeping mud, because the only healing here is continuing. You hear it before you see it, a sharp yell. Then the sound of splintering wood. The village halts. Men stop mid-step. Women pull children closer. Even the chickens freeze. Another shout. Deeper. Angry, slurred words you can't understand. You see them now, 3 men, unfamiliar faces, armed with short swords and wooden clubs. They stagger slightly, laughing, but their eyes are sharp. No one confronts them. A boy drops his bucket. Water spills into the mud. The boy flees. One of the armed men grabs the spilled bucket, lifts it, and hurls it into the well. The village watches in silence. This is not a rare event. These men are not bandits. They are simply from another village, or perhaps mercenaries, or bored. There is no police, no town guard, no law but landowners and lords who are far away. If you are attacked, no one comes. If your food is taken, you bow your head. If your family is harmed, you pray. That is the system. A woman begins to cry. One of the men approaches her. She kneels quickly, averts her gaze, offers a loaf of bread. He takes it, not looking at her, and walks away. She still kneels long after he's gone. You feel your heart beat. Not in your chest, but in your arms, your legs, your fingertips. Your body is preparing to run or to freeze. You do neither, you stay still. The intruders laugh again. One swings his club at a cart. The wheel breaks. They move on. No one says a word. This, you realize, is daily life, not war, just chaos always looming at the edge. Later that day, you pass the church. A young man has been tied to a post outside, accused of theft. No trial, no proof. Just suspicion. A villager throws a stone. It hits his leg. The young man flinches but does not cry out. The priest walks by, silent. Everyone has seen too much. Everyone is tired. Justice is not here. Justice belongs to the strong. Or to the rich. A story circulates about a noble's son who stabbed a servant to death in a drunken rage. No punishment. He's away now in another town, drunk again. You sit under a tree trying to breathe. You think of your world. Surveillance cameras, emergency lines, locked doors. None of that exists here. If someone enters your hut tonight and takes everything, there will be no knock at your door tomorrow. No help. You think of all the times you felt unsafe back home. Now you see what true vulnerability feels like. And yet, this village survives. Why? Because of silence, because of submission, because rebellion leads to ruin. One man may fight back, but his home will burn. A woman may scream, but her child will be taken. So instead, the village lowers its gaze and waits. Waits for danger to pass. Waits for morning. Waits for nothing. And as dusk begins to fall, the fear does not fade. It hides in the shadows. It watches. And it waits with you. The sun barely rises, but the work has already begun. There is no whistle, no morning alarm, no breakfast table, no warm coffee, just aching limbs, just expectation. You are handed a rake, a bucket, a bundle of straw. You don't ask why. You don't ask how long. No one does. Work is not scheduled. It simply continues. In the fields, a man digs shallow furrows with a tool no better than a stick. Beside him, two children carry water in clay jugs larger than their heads. You are sent to the edge of the barley field, where thistle and weed have begun to choke the crop. You pull with your bare hands. The soil is packed hard. Sharp stones cut your palms. The sun, low as it is, bakes your shoulders. Someone shouts behind you, "Move faster." You haven't stopped, but it isn't fast enough. Your stomach grumbles. You ignore it. Beside you, a woman collapses to her knees. Her lips are cracked, her arms thin as reeds. No one helps her up. She rises on her own, swaying, then keeps pulling weeds. You learn this here. Suffering is not unique. It is shared and ignored. You break for a moment to stretch. A man glances at you. His look is not angry, just tired. As if to say, "We all hurt, keep going," so you do. Later, you carry sacks, heavy and uneven. The strap digs into your shoulder. You shuffle across uneven ground, slipping once, then again. You do not complain. You do not have the energy. Behind a barn, a boy is feeding pigs. They fight viciously for rotten scraps. He yells at them, then winces as one bites his hand. He continues anyway. You notice he's no older than 7. There is no childhood here, no time to wonder, no time to grow, only work. You try to speak to a woman nearby. She doesn't answer. She's weaving. Her fingers move rapidly, the thread snapping through wooden spools. Her eyes are glazed, her lips moving softly in prayer or habit. The sun reaches its peak, but the air grows hotter. Sweat clings to every inch of your skin. You feel faint, but you keep working. There is no pause, no midday break. You chew on a piece of coarse bread from your pocket. It scratches your throat. It's hard to swallow, but it gives you enough to keep going. A horse collapses near the well, overworked. Its owner slaps it, curses, then begins to strip it of its harness. Another animal will be yoked. The first is left lying, breathing shallowly. You ask how long the day is. No one answers. You realize the day ends when the work ends, and the work never ends. You lift a pitchfork clean manure from the barn floor. Your body moves like a puppet, jerky, half aware. In your world, fatigue came from gym classes or long days at a desk. Here, fatigue is your identity. Here, you are made of exhaustion. As dusk arrives, you are still walking, still lifting, still pushing. Your legs are numb. Your back curves without command. And when someone finally says, "Enough," you don't believe it. You sit beside a fire. Your hands tremble. You stare at the blisters, the dirt. But no one else seems to notice. Because they are the same. This is life. And it begins again tomorrow. You hear it in the distance. Hooves. A steady, thunderous rhythm over packed earth. Villagers glance up, some instinctively kneel, others freeze mid-task. A small procession appears beyond the fields, 5 riders cloaked in colors, their horses groomed and tall. Behind them, 2 wagons creak under the weight of crates and wine barrels. The Lord has returned. You're not sure if he lives in the castle visible at the horizon or further away. It doesn't matter. He owns this land. And you step aside. You are expected to. He does not look at you. His face is half covered by fur-lined cloth. His gloves are polished, boots spotless despite the mud. His men shout orders. A woman drops her basket. A boy bows so low his knees muddy. A man doesn't move fast enough. A whip cracks in the air, not on his back, just a warning. This time, you wonder what would happen if you stepped in his way. You don't try. Later, by the manor barn, the Lord's steward inspects grain sacks. He frowns, then speaks sharply. The harvest was too poor, he says, too little. Rent will increase. A murmur ripples through the villagers. No one argues. One woman begins to cry. The steward ignores her. You realize. Even your suffering is taxed. The Lord eats meat, drinks wine, sleeps on fur. He bathes, he reads. You have seen none of these things. In the village, a man tells a story in whispers of a child caught poaching a rabbit. The Lord's men beat him. They broke his arm. He is still alive, but not quite the same. Another story, a girl taken into the manor to serve. She has not returned. Her mother says she is learning to sew. No one believes her. But no one says otherwise. You understand now that the line between noble and peasant is not just wealth. It is the freedom to be human. The Lord can choose. You cannot. He can walk past your suffering and not see it. You, meanwhile, must notice everything to survive. You watch his horses drink from the clean bucket. Their coats shine. Their hooves trimmed. A child nearby has open sores on his legs. The horse is cleaner. That night you pass the chapel. Inside, a priest prays loudly for the Lord's health, not for the sick child, not for the woman with the cough. The church echoes with incense and Latin. You understand none of it. But the tone is clear. Honor your betters. Obey. You sit outside and look at your hands, blistered, shaking. You think of all the things the Lord never has to touch. Mud, blood, ash, death, they exist for you. And should you break your body, your will, another will replace you. But no one will replace the Lord. So you stay in your place, not because you agree, but because the wall is too high. You wake to smoke, not fire, just smoke. A thick, sweet, acrid smell drifting through the cracks in the wooden wall. You step outside. At the edge of the village, a fire pit blazes. People stand in a loose circle around it. A woman chants, throwing bundles of herbs into the flame. The smoke thickens. Some cover their mouths. Others breathe it in. For the sickness, someone whispers. No one really knows what it is, but everyone is afraid. A child died 2 nights ago. Another lies still, feverish and pale. There is no diagnosis, no explanation, only fear. And so fire, smoke to chase away the demons. A man walks the perimeter holding a carved stick wrapped in feathers and beads. He taps the walls of each house, a protection ritual. You ask what it means. No one answers. They are busy watching the fire. Later, you pass the chapel. Someone has drawn a symbol in chalk across the door, a circle crossed with slashes. A ward against plague. You hear a woman mutter a prayer, then spit over her shoulder. A man wears garlic on a string. A child has bells tied to her ankles. No one laughs. A cough is no longer just a cough. It is a curse. It is sin. Or punishment. A woman nearby holds a pigeon to her chest. She says it will draw out the fever. She rocks slowly. The pigeon barely moves. Another man drinks a vial of black liquid from the healer. It smells of ash and something sour. His eyes roll back, then he sleeps. You are told not to touch him. At dusk, a traveler arrives at the edge of the village. He is hunched, wrapped in cloth, dirty and ragged. He asks for food, for water. No one responds. He begs. Falls to his knees. Then someone picks up a stone. You look away. The traveler does not stay. You ask a boy why. He carried it, he says. What it is no one knows, but it is always close. You feel a tickle in your throat, just dryness. You hope you do not cough. You will not. There are no scientists, no studies, no proof, only suspicion and fear. You pass the fire again. Someone throws bones into the flames. The smoke rises. Someone whispers, "It must go somewhere." You don't know if they mean the sickness or the soul. You ask where the nearest town is. A man shrugs. 3 days. On foot. You picture it, 3 days across uneven land, through forest and field, mud and marsh. No road signs, no pavement, only animal tracks and instinct. The man points to a path. You look. It's barely a trail, just flattened grass winding between thorny bushes and fallen logs. Safe. You ask. He laughs, not cruelly, just honestly. Maybe. The world outside this village is vast, but it is not open. It is tangled, slow, and full of shadows. And most who leave don't return. You ask about horses. The man gestures toward a stable. 3 remain. 1 limps. 1 is pregnant. The 3rd belongs to the steward. You understand you will walk, if you must. A boy speaks of wolves in the woods. Another mentions men with blades, not lords, not bandits, just hungry. And yet sometimes someone leaves. For medicine, for trade, for prayer, but mostly they stay, because travel is not a journey. It is a gamble. You step outside the village to fetch kindling. The trees loom taller than you expected. The wind stirs the leaves. Every sound is amplified. You hear a twig snap, just a bird, but your heart doesn't settle. You realize that you are not brave, you are simply desperate. There are no maps here, no lanterns, no compass. If you get lost, the land will not forgive you. A woman once wandered too far. She was found days later, eyes open, body cold, no marks, just fear. They say the woods swallowed her. You believe it. That night you help carry a sack of grain to the next hamlet just over the hill. The walk is silent, dark. The moon is hidden. The man beside you walks quickly. "We don't stop," he says. "You don't ask why. You walk. You listen. You don't look back. The path is narrow. The wind whistles through branches. The ground shifts underfoot. When you arrive, there is no welcome, no candlelight, just a woman with a basket and a nod. She trades the grain for salt. You walk back in silence. You ask what would happen if you fell or got left behind. Then you're gone, he says, simple, final. The land is not your friend, the night is not your shelter, and you are not remembered if you vanish. So you return, and you stay, because there is nowhere else to go, and nowhere to run. The wind wakes you. It howls through the wooden slats, pushing dust across the floor. Your blanket flutters. It's thin, made of coarse wool, damp from the morning air. There is no glass in your window, only a cloth flap that does little to stop the cold. You pull your knees to your chest. You rub your arms. The breath you exhale turns to mist. You do not rise yet. There is no fire. You dream of heat, not warmth, but heat. The kind that seeps into bone. But here there is only cold. Endless, creeping, patient. Outside, someone chops wood. The sound is dull, wet logs. You remember yesterday, your hands blistered from the axe, your fingers still stiff. You will need to split more today. Before winter, you dress slowly. Your clothes are stiff. Cold, you press them to your skin like ice. There is no change of garments, no laundry. What you wear is what you have. The sun is hidden. The sky is white with low clouds. You step outside. Wind bites your face. A child nearby shivers in bare feet. His nose runs. He wipes it on his sleeve. No one mentions sickness. It is simply part of the season. A woman pours water from a bucket. It splashes and freezes across stone. She chips at it with a stick. Ice in autumn, and winter is coming. Later you ask what summer is like. A man laughs. Different, he says, not better. He tells of heat that cracks the dirt, sun that burns skin raw, flies that cover every open bowl. There is no relief, no fans, no ice, no shade that lasts, just sweat and breathless days, and sometimes worse. Lightning that strikes huts, fires that spread with no warning, crops that dry before harvest. One year the rains never came. Another they never stopped. The sky gives and takes, and never apologizes. You ask what they do when storms come. Pray, someone says. A woman tells of a wind that tore the roof off her home. Her husband tied it down with rope, but the rope snapped. They huddled under a table while the rain poured in. The children coughed for weeks after. "We're still alive," she shrugs. You wonder how. You remember your world, umbrellas, heaters, cooling systems, forecasts. Here the weather is not predicted, it is feared. and respected. Clouds mean hunger. Sun means danger. Snow means death. The villagers build nothing tall, nothing proud. The sky reminds them of their place. You watch the wind bend the trees. You hear it knock shutters loose. You pull your cloak tighter. It barely helps. You dream of shelter, but this is all there is, and the sky above does not care. You sit alone behind the hut, your hands still. There's no more work today, just the ache it leaves behind. Your body throbs, your skin is cracked, your breath is shallow. But what weighs more is your mind. The silence should be peaceful. But it is. It's too quiet. You hear nothing but your heartbeat, your thoughts, your fear. A man once told you, here, your mind will betray you before your body does. Now you understand. Hunger can be endured. Cold can be endured. But dread poisons slowly. You look toward the chapel. It's lit by a single candle. Inside, someone prays in Latin. You don't understand the words, but you know the tone, pleading, bargaining. You go inside, kneel beside the others. You have nothing to say, but you stay, because sometimes presence is the only prayer left. A woman whispers the name of her dead child. Another man simply rocks back and forth. No one speaks to each other, but no one leaves. Fear has become ritual. Outside, the wind returns. You return to your corner, curl up against the wall. The mud is cool. Your blanket is damp. You can't sleep. Your thoughts spiral. What if tomorrow brings sickness? What if the well runs dry? What if they don't need you anymore? You push your face into your arms, not because you're crying, but because you don't want to see anything else. Faith here is not joyful, it is desperate. You remember your world, therapy, books, light. A place to talk. Here you are alone with the storm in your head. No one asks how you feel. No one expects you to smile. You see an old man marking days on a wooden beam. A knife scratch for each sunrise. There is no calendar. Just memory. You ask how old he is. Don't know, he says, not yet dead. He laughs. You can't tell if it's humor or resignation. You find a piece of dry bark. You carve lines into it, your name or something like it. You bury it in the dirt. No one sees. No one needs to. The mind survives not by holding on, but by hiding. By pretending the fear is smaller than it is. By finding a shape to pain, by calling it prayer, or silence, or simply another day. You wake before the sun, not from sound, from memory. A dream still lingers, one not from this world. A place with warm light, soft beds, gentle voices. You walked through it barefoot, unafraid. The ground was smooth, someone smiled. And then you woke, and your body remembered where it truly was, in a hut that smells of ash and damp earth. You sit up slowly, rubbing your temples. The dream has already begun to fade, as if ashamed to remain. You try to hold on to the color of the sky in that other place, but the mud beneath your feet is louder. A child enters the hut. She says nothing, just brings a bundle of straw. She places it beside you and leaves. That is kindness here. A gesture without words. You chew stale bread and think of warmth. Not fire, but warmth of presence. A mother's hand, a friend's laughter, a name spoken softly. You wonder if anyone here remembers your name, or if you gave one at all. No one asks. The villagers live in memory but never speak of it. You ask an old woman about her past. She smiles, toothless. There is no past, she says, only the day that was hardest. You wait for more, she gives none. You understand. Memory is dangerous. It makes the present unbearable. And hope is worse. Hope is the shadow that reminds you of what you cannot reach. It flickers like candlelight dancing just out of reach. A boy stares at the sky for a long time. You ask why. Sometimes, he says, I think maybe I was meant to be a bird. He smiles faintly, then returns to chopping wood. No one mentions dreams. They are too sharp, too risky. You write a word in the dirt with your finger. A word from your dream. You don't know why, you don't remember what it means, but it felt good to see it. Moments pass in silence. A man hums a tune with no melody. A woman braids her hair without a mirror. A girl draws circles in the dust. None of them speak. And yet the silence is not empty. It's full of the things they can't say, grief, regret, longing. You understand them, even without words, especially without words. That night, someone leaves a small piece of dried fruit by your bed. You don't know who, you don't ask, you eat it slowly. And you cry not because you are sad, but because you are still capable of joy. And that, more than anything, hurts the most. Night falls early. The sky turns not black but a deep, heavy gray, as if light has simply given up. You sit beside the fire, if it can be called that. Just a few flickers fighting against the wind. Around you the others gather, silent. Exhausted, no one speaks. The day has taken everything. Someone stares into the flames, unblinking. Another rocks slightly, eyes half closed. A girl leans her head against her mother's arm. The mother doesn't notice, or perhaps she does but cannot respond. There are no lullabies, no bedtime rituals, only stillness. A man sharpens a blade without purpose. The sound is rhythmic, almost comforting. Another stirs a pot of thin soup, though no one eats. You realize it isn't hunger they feel, it's the weight of staying alive. You close your eyes for a moment. In your mind, the village vanishes. You imagine walls, clean sheets, a locked door. But when you open them again, mud, smoke, shadows, the fire dims, the wind rises. You pull your blanket closer, it smells of mold. A boy whispers, "Tell us a story." No one answers. There are no stories here, only memory, only silence. You lie down on the hard floor. Your bones creak, your joints protest. You're not old, but this day has aged you. A woman hums softly, not a tune, just a sound. A low, vibrating thread that weaves through the darkness. It is not joyful, but it holds you. Outside, the wind knocks something loose. A shutter swings. No one moves to fix it. What's broken now stays broken. That is the way of things. You feel your breath slow. You do not sleep. You disappear into the quiet, into the ache, into the shadow that is survival. And in that moment, there is peace, not comfort, not safety, but peace, because the day is over and you made it through.